Good evening, and welcome to the Southeast Delco School Board Directors Committee of the Whole, Thursday, August 15th, 2024. I would like to hand it over to Dr. Sanchez. It's not working.
Okay, there we go. Thank you very much, Madam President. Good evening, fellow board members. Would like to kick off the committee of the whole meeting by inviting Dr. Gibbs Tapper to present the first set of items that are connected to our special education program.
Good afternoon, everyone. All right. So, under education item number 1, I am asking the board to approve a confidential settlement agreement for student ID listed below. I'm also asking for the board to approve out of district placement at Cades George Crothers, which is located in Swarthmore, Pennsylvania. It is a program for our low incidence students that we cannot accommodate here in the district. This is for the 2024-2025 school year. These students have been attending this program for the entirety of their education. This is just a renewal for this year. They send it every year. We also have an out-of-district placement at a program called River Rock Academy for a student. ID number is listed below. We have another out-of-district placement at the Melmark School for student ID number below. We're also asking for the board to approve an out-of-district placement at Elwyn School for 2 students that we have attending this program. They've been attending this program for the duration of their education as well. These are students that all of these students have been attending this program. It's just their yearly renewal. We are asking the board to ratify the agreement between Delta T and Delta T Group provides us an abundance of the vast majority, I would say, of our paraprofessionals, our PCAs. The contract went into effect June 18, 2024, and is going until the end of this academic school year. The delay for presenting this to the board is more so because the rate sheet had to be adjusted for us to make sure that we got the best possible rate. The same thing is necessary for general healthcare resources. Again, this is another company that we contract with to get paraprofessionals for. We also have another group with Stepping Stones Group. We have a few paraprofessionals that also come from that program as well. And Interim Behavioral Health, they have a contract that started July 1 to June 30, 2025 as well. And I believe that is all the items for the special education department. Any questions?
Yes, I do have a question for number 7. You said ratify for general health care resources.
Yes.
So staffing agreement, is this an agency?
GHR, it is an agency sort of like Delta T as well. So we try to use Delta T first for all of our PCAs because we have a contract with them. They also offer us 2 PCA supervisors as well. So when they are not able to staff the PCAs, we do have to go to other companies. So we try to make sure that we have an abundance of companies that we have a contracts with just in case Delta T, which is one of our primary vendors, does not have a person available. Sometimes when we need someone that also from the paraprofessionals, there are certain students that we try to keep in district. However, they may need a higher level of care other than a paraprofessional. They may need something called a RBT, which is a registered behavioral technician. These registered behavioral technicians require an additional level of training, 30 hours on top of having their diploma and going through behavioral management. So there are certain students that we have to outsource to get RBTs for. So when we're short PCAs, we have to make sure that we're in compliance with their IEPs. If their IEPs say they require a PCA, we have to make sure that we have that PCA available. Like the IEP is today, the IEP goes into effect the next day. We have to have that PCA technically available that day. So we don't want to be in a situation where we're waiting for Delta T to hire somebody, because they have to hire someone and we have to wait for them to go through their clearances and all of that necessary material. So we like to make sure we have an extra hands on deck just in case Delta T cannot provide us with the personnel we need. They normally are working only somewhere between 5.5 hours to 6.6 hours a day. It's not a full-time position. We're looking at the child's needs. We're looking at something called a PCA justification form, where the teachers are required to look at the child's functional behavioral assessment, look at their positive behavioral support plan, and it's normally for a child who needs a person that's a one-on-one with them. And the one-on-one is serving as a buffer so that child can get through the day without any type of conflict, without any type of issues, to stay on task, to make sure they don't elope. So it's an agency that's able to supply these part-time, if you will, employees.
Right, so have we, looking for someone in this position to work as a part-timer? If, in our district, or we continue to use the, agency?
So is your question, are we hiring them internally, or are
Right.
we continuously contracting?
Right, are we hiring
So,
them internally?
We have in district right now that's been budgeted, we only have 12 PCAs that are district PCAs, 12. We have not expanded our hiring process to hire more internal staff. And again, we normally work with the contractors because that we're trying to make sure that we have an abundance. We have quite a significant amount of PCAs, so that would definitely impact the human resources here internally. Using them as a contractor, there are pros and cons with that. However, the agency mainly does most of the training, most of the supervision, those different things, and it's included in the entire package.
Right, but wouldn't that cause even more money when you, hiring from agencies?
Not necessarily, because when we have people that are in district at times, depending on the number of hours, we have to start looking at benefits. We have to look at those different things. We're
Okay.
paying them a flat rate.
Okay.
At the agency.
Okay, understandable, thank you.
You're welcome.
Dr. Gibbs Tapper, just want to confirm number 11 related to access billing.
Number 11. Number 10.
Number 10 and number 11, sorry, number 10 is with access billing and number 11 with Holcomb Behavioral Health Systems.
So these are two items I did not submit to
Okay.
the board. However, they are under the umbrella of Dr. Ryan. So I will speak to number 11, approving a contract between Southeast Delco School District and Holcomb Behavioral Health Services for Student Assistance Program for the year 24-25. So SAP is a major component that's required by every district, required to have in every district in the state of Pennsylvania. Student Assistance Program started out as an initiative that was really a preventative program for drug and alcohol prevention. They have expanded over the year to behavioral health. So every building has a SAP liaison and a SAP coordinator that's assigned to their building. When buildings and teams are working within programming and they have child study meetings, if there's a student who has any type of mental health issue, behavioral health issue, they will actually talk about making a referral to our internal SAP liaison person. That internal SAP liaison person meets with the child, meets with the family, they conduct an interview, and they actually give them resources in the community that can help them with outside mental health support services. So this is something that is mandated by the state. Every building does have a SAP coordinator liaison. We work closely with them to make sure that we're providing families the information they need for outside mental health. And for item number 10, for the Penta Health to provide access billing services, Penta Health is our doctor that we have on contract, if you will, that actually signs off on the access documentation. So access billing is what all the professionals are required to use when they're in special education. So our occupational therapists, our PT, our psychologists, anyone that's providing a related service to a student, our psych evaluations, they actually are allowed to do something called access billing. Access billing does allow us to get reimbursement forms of reimbursement small back into our district because it's considered a medical service, if you will. And we use Penta Health because they provide us a doctor that has to sign off on all of that documentation before we send it to the state for billing purposes. So that's what item number 10 is, and item 11.
Thank you very much.
You're
Thank you very
welcome.
much,
Thank
Dr.
you.
Gibbs Tapper. I'd like to invite Dr. Lowry to speak on behalf of the remaining education agenda items.
Good evening. So I'm going to talk about a couple important education items moving down. So item number 12 is the updated Academy Park High School course selection guide for 24-25. That work has been going on with the high school administrative team, along with Dr. Ryan and district leadership, to align our course catalog to the actual offerings that Academy Park High School students will be experiencing during the 24-25 school year. 13 refers to the annual school improvement plans for Darby Township, Harris, and Kindergarten Center. And I'll backtrack 1 second once I go through the other two. Number 14 speaks to the ATSI plan, the Additional Targeted Support and Improvement Plan for Academy Park High School. And item number 15 speaks to the Targeted Support and Improvement Plan for Delcroft and Sharon Hill School. So our schools, we have to engage in an annual planning process for each of our buildings. The district engages in that process every 3 years, while our schools engage in that process every year. So all of our schools have, because they either are designated or they receive Title I funding, engages in this process every year. So what that looks like is school teams look at available data sets, they look at achievement, they look at growth indicators, they look at a lot of different components as to how their schools are operating, and they develop a plan each year as to what are things that they're going to be focusing on in terms of improving their school. So the school community and the school leadership develops those plans. And our process that we utilized here, the school teams reviewed them, and then myself, Dr. Sanchez, then met with our school leadership, our school leaders, to sit down and look at plans as well. Overall, we want to ensure that our schools' plans are making progress and they're making growth in terms of English language arts, math, student behavior, and attendance percentiles. So in those plans that were provided to you for the various different categories, you'll see targeted goals and structured goals for all of our schools that are focusing on those core areas that we want to improve in. Moving down, number 16 is we're starting the year with our batch approval for field trip locations for the 24-25 school year. As per the board recommendation and continuing with the past practice that we used, items that were approved in prior years and that we utilized last year are being put up for a batch approval to allow principals and teachers the ability to select from them for this year. I'm going to skip 17, 18, 19 because my wonderful colleague, Dr. Reddick Smack, is going to come up and speak about those. And I can skip down to item number 20, which is an MOU agreement between Nutrition Links, which is an umbrella through Penn State University, who wishes to continue their nutrition education support programming and education services in our 4 elementary schools.
I just have just a question. Well, not a question, but a statement. I would really like to see in these plans more of the community members being a part of it so that we get a robust experience and with their experiences with the district inside the schools.
Yeah, Dr. Sanchez and I and our central leadership, we talked about how we can roll out the process earlier and how we can engage further stakeholders when we continue to move forward with the planning process. So that's something that feedback is well received, and we're going to continue with that.
Okay, thank you.
Especially like moving forward, like the planning process and the data collection samples that start to come out, if we move the process up from where we are late at the end of the school year to more of like the spring and start planning process, we can bring more stakeholders in. So we've already talked and we're in agreement. Thank you. Any questions? All right. Thank you, guys.
Good evening, everyone. For items 17, 18, and 19, in the spirit of continuing to update our instructional materials in the district, we are asking for approval for a new Spanish resource for our Spanish class at the high school, Entre Culturas, which is Wayside Publishing. We're bringing it before you now because this isn't a company that we had used previously, and this is the most updated series of materials that are available now. As for 18, that is the adoption of a health education core resource from Glencoe Health. McGraw-Hill is a company that we've utilized in prior years, but again, this is another set of instructional materials as the older materials are no longer available. We are also asking the approval for the purchase and continuation of the Lexia Core 5 reading licenses. Currently, it's a program that we have about 50 licenses per building, and those licenses are used to support our more intensive reading supports that may be needed through our MTSS program. There could be also an opportunity where we may have to come back before you if additional licenses are needed, but we typically start with 50 at each building, and as you know, if we see that there's a need for additional licensure, then we go ahead and come to the board for approval for additional licensure. But those are the three in terms of instructional materials that we have on docket for today. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dr. Betty-Smack. I'd like to pass the mic now to Mr. Butler.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
So under finance, we have 6 items. Item number 1 is the annual approval of grants that we receive. This is for the 24-25 school year. So we have Title I. This year it's $1,948,890. This funds the reading interventionists and support in the district. Also funds Keystone Intervention Services for APHS, parent engagement, homeless support, etc. The next item is Title II, $223,532. Essentially, this provides class size reduction. So it provides additional teachers to, again, help reduce class size. Title III is for English language development and instruction for students. It teaches social and academic language skills for that core group of students that are in need. Title IV is in the amount of $148,484. This is for counseling and social work services that is required, and other services that are required in our school buildings. The last 2 items are the state's portion, where they refund, in this case, Southeast Delco School District, for previous borrowings that were associated with the renovation of Academy Park High School. So on one bond issue, it's in the amount of $1,097,074, and the second bond issue is in the amount of $436,137. All of these particular grants add up to a total of $3,854,117. Item 2, at the this July 25th board meeting, we presented a list for additional revenue for new initiatives in the district. And that list totaled $6,985,012. So this is just asking for approval of this list so that we can move forward with these new initiatives. Item 3 is approval of attendance for myself to attend the annual ASBO conference. This is the Association of School Business Officials, and this is their annual conference. It's held in Nashville. It's from September 18th through September 20th at a cost not to exceed $1,500. Item 4 is the engagement, to approve the engagement of Transpar Group. This organization is a consulting group. We want to engage them to consult with us to look at transportation, the assessment of routes, scheduling, and overall operations at an estimated cost not to exceed $200,000. The last item is an agreement between the Girl Scouts of Eastern Pennsylvania and Southeast Delco School District. And Dr. Sanchez, if you could just elaborate on what that agreement is about.
Absolutely. So the Girl Scouts has had a relationship with Southeast Delco. In the past, they have a troop, I believe, at Sharon Hill School. The goal is to be able to offer Girl Scouts at all of our schools. So this is a way to formalize the relationship with them. The Girl Scouts program comes to us at no cost to us or our students, other than the use of our facilities. So we want to formalize that relationship with them.
And that concludes my items.
I have a
Mr.
question.
Butler, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I just had a quick question.
Sure.
For item number 4, it says to not exceed 200,000. Do we have an anticipation of how much we're looking to spend?
I'll take the first swing at that. So it all depends on what number of services we ask them to provide. Depends how detailed. So we are working with them on a formal proposal. They've given us, they've given us a explanation of all the services they could provide, from doing an audit of our routes to being able all the way to help facilitate coaching and or directing the department if needed. So it all depends what we ask them to do, but we know the full amount will not exceed 200,000. We will come back to the board, and if we can make it happen before next Thursday, with a more specific amount.
Will we be, is this just to get everything set up and then our people will take over? Or is this meant to eventually have them come in and replace?
No, it would not be replacing anybody. This is a third party that will truly take a look at our operations, take a look at our policies related to transportation, take a look at our routes, see how we're staffing, everything from A to Z on what's happening in the transportation department. Make recommendations to us as to what to do moving forward. But in no way, shape, or form does it mean changing how we staff our department.
Will this be in effect before the new school year
Yes.
begins?
If everything goes well, again, we are finalizing that number, and if everything goes well, we should be able to give you an updated proposal next week. And the goal is for them to be here observing how do we launch the school year? What do we do to get ready as far as training for our staff? We have a manual that's specific for transportation that we're using. So it's an administrative level of support from an outside third party that's an expert on transportation.
Okay, thanks.
I do have a question. So you said, I'm gonna piggyback on what Ms. McGowan was saying. So by next week, you will have the exact amount of what we're going to spend for number 4?
No, by next week, the goal is to have that proposal finalized from them. We have to let them know which pieces of their services we actually want them to provide. So Mr. Butler and I are still in conversations with them.
Okay.
To say, of all the things that they can offer, these are the pieces that we're asking you to deliver. If we were to ask for the entire array of services, it would not exceed $200,000.
It will not exceed?
It will not exceed.
Okay. So, Mr. Butler, for title number 4, you said counseling and social work services. So, how many counselors do you need? And
And Ms.
No,
Woodfolk's
for-
back up to number 1.
no, I said number 4.
Counseling services, first sentence.
I said title.
Title IV.
Four.
Title IV, yeah,
Section number one, title.
Oh, sorry.
yes.
Thank you. And one more question for you, Mr. Butler.
I didn't,
Wait a minute, so for number three, not Title III, but number three, is this a conference for you to go to for 1,500? And, go ahead,
yeah, in the amount not to exceed $1,500.
okay. My
It
vote
is.
is no, so I'm
Okay.
only kidding.
Can- I know. Well, can I go back to number 1, Title IV?
Yes.
Okay.
I was kind of confused, just like Ms. McGowan was saying, it was Title I and Title IV. I was just confused because I didn't know that you say counselors and social worker services. Can you explain that to me? Because I'm a little confused and I don't want to ask any questions sounding dumb.
Sure. So most of these grants are to, this is not to bring on additional staff. This
Right.
is offsetting existing staff. And
Okay.
It frees up their time to do other things and provide other services. But this is just to offset some of the costs. And again, with the Title I folks, they are existing employees. And I want to say there are approximately 10, I want to say around 10, between 8 and 10 individuals that this takes care of their salaries in the budget.
Okay, now I understand. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. McGowan.
My question is going to go to the after prom from last year. There was a lot of talk about it and a lot, how money was going to be raised and where money would go. What I'm looking for is right now is how much money was raised, how much money was spent, how much money was left over, and where is the money now?
Mr. John, that would be new business, so we can get your question answered after we finish the agenda. Is that okay? That's okay? Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Butler. So now I want to ask Ms. Woolley if she can come to the podium to present the wonderful good news, the fruits of her and her team's labor. You all will get to hear some great things happening with the HR department here at Southeast Delco.
It's good to see some of you again. So, good evening, board. Good evening, audience. My name is Stephanie Woolley, Director of Human Resources here at the Southeast Delco School District. I am here to present the items for the Committee of the Whole for Human Resources. Number one, we want to approve the retirement of our Manager of Transportation, Dennis Kraus. He has been with us in service for 10 years, so he'll be retiring with us, and we want to say thank you for your service, Dennis. We want to have approved the resignation of 3 professional teachers. We want to ratify the resignation of 2 classified employees. And if you flip through page 4, page 5, page 6, these are all new hires. So although... Page 4, page 5, and page 6 has a listing of all of our employees, even on page 7. So, although we lost 3 professionals, we literally gained 15 professional new hires. So I must say thank you for approving that stipend, because the stipend worked, because we gained 5 special ed teachers within the district. Yep, and they're really hard to find. We had the need for 5 approved for the school year 24-25, added new school security officers. We have 3 that accepted, 2 that are pending. I was upstairs leaving voicemails for them, so they're pending. So we won't have any openings for school security officers by the time we were supposed to have them filled by December. We should be filled probably by next week. If you look at number 6, we have 8 classified on page 6 and 7 that we're asking for approval. Those are new hires. And we have 8, but I just put 2 offers out and they accepted verbally over the phone before I came downstairs. So that's 10 classified people that we have for the month of August. If you look at page 7, we have 10 change of assignments on page 7 and page 8. They're called change of assignments, but for me, I see it as a step up, a pathway to success for our existing employees, and they look like, and I call them promotions. So we have the 10 employees within the district that have moved to new and higher roles. Number 9, 10, 11, and 12, we have 6 leave of absences that we're requesting for approval. Number 13, we're asking to convert the grants administrator position to the Director of Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging, and the supporting documents should be attached. Number 14, we're asking to approve 4 new job descriptions: the Family and Community Engagement Specialist, Employee and Labor Relations Administrator, Human Resources Administrator, and the Assistant Athletic Director. Page 10, we're asking for the approval of the attached supplemental athletic positions. And just to note, we still have some positions open, which is our non-voting items I would like to talk about right now. We still have some supplemental positions open that we have posted on our website. So if you know any employees that are interested or anybody in the community that's interested, please have them apply. Some of the jobs, just to name a few, are like the high school What's Your Passion coordinator, district musical choreographer, senior high yearbook sponsor, and much more. Okay. So yesterday here at the district, we had 2 sessions of new hires. We're calling them like the class of 2024. We had the onboarding day yesterday, and there's pictures of all the 27 new hires that we had here for our mini new hire orientation. So again, we're calling them the class of 2024, 27 new hires. It was a success. So during that, we gave out bags that I purchased with our logo on it. I just want to pass them out to the board, little lunch bags, kind of to promote our brand at the district. So carry those as much as possible if you can. In addition to that, I got new yard signs. This time they're 2-sided, so you can see it coming and you can see it going, okay? All right? In addition to that, on there, we have the approved 2,500 hiring stipend that's on there that you'll see there now. Again, you'll see it coming, you'll see it going. All right? So any questions?
I do have a question. As a matter of fact, I have like a couple of concerns. What is the Family and Community Engagement Specialist? I mean, what would that person do?
I will take the lead with that in sharing a little bit more detail about what the FACE specialist will be responsible for. So we are looking to strengthen our relationship and our partnership with families. In order to be able to do that, it's not something that we can expect to happen out of the corner of the desk, even though it's something that we all should be working on to make sure we're strengthening our relationship with our parents. But we are investing dollars in a person that will be dedicated to figure out how do we as a district formally engage with families, either provide them supports, provide them professional development opportunities, provide them ways to learn about how to support us in supporting their children around literacy and math. But this person would be a dedicated resource for families. And we say families because some of our children are not being raised by their actual parents. But this individual is, I'm going to work with grandma to make sure grandma has the support she needs at home so that she's successful with little Yamil in school. So this is a resource that many school districts have that we don't have here. If there's an office out of Pennsylvania Department of Education that supports FACE departments, FACE teams. Here, we're gonna start with a FACE specialist.
Okay, so how does that person going to reach out to the parents or the guardians? Are they going to make phone calls, or they go to the house, or does the family come to the district? How does that work?
So everything under the sun, other than they're not necessarily doing home visits, they can create activities that are held at one of our local libraries, and they'll partner with the head librarian, for example, to create a literacy activity. They can create a family night at a park, and they'll be the ones that coordinate having different vendors there. They can work with the principal at each of our schools in creating back-to-school nights or back-to-school learning activities. They'll use all of our resources, from the website to social media to dojo to phone, whatever it takes to be able to get the message out to family. This is yet another formal layer. We're already doing this.
Right.
We have some excellent individuals that I can highlight publicly, and I will. Ms. Jackson, Camille, DTS. They're an example.
Right.
So this individual will help every one of our buildings have that type of engagement.
So are you looking for one person to do all of the schools, or are you looking for a person for each of our schools?
Ms. Woodfolk, you are setting me up perfectly. So baby steps. We're
Okay.
starting with one person calling in a specialist.
Okay,
Districts usually have teams
okay,
of folks that, individuals are assigned to every
Right.
building, and then there's someone at the district level that manages them. So it's a baby
Okay.
step. There are a lot of changes that are going to come into play this next school year. This is one of many. So we're going to
Okay.
start with this baby step of hiring one
Right.
FACE specialist responsible for organizing a number of district-wide activities.
okay,
But in order for this to truly be effective, you need to have someone at every building. And that individual is the one that is a backbone for relationships with parents.
Okay.
Right now, we're going to start with the district level person.
okay. And my other question is, this is a question for you and for Mr. Butler. Now, I noticed that there are a few teachers that left our district, Mr. Butler and Ms. Stephanie. So my concern is, after the board had approved of the teachers getting their back pay, although they left, do they still get their back pay? Can you tell me how does that work? And if you can you give me approximately how many teachers that left our district after the board has approved for them to get their back pay?
So, if I can go first, so I don't have the number of statistics, but the ones that have left are pretty new. They were not here during that freeze. So none of the teachers that had left that received that freeze. If any that were long time standing, they were kind of considered like a retirement and left the district.
Oh, okay, so we haven't lost,
No, you haven't
Okay.
lost anybody based on salary.
okay, okay. So I guess I don't need you to answer.
Sure, yeah, I can though. So, to go back to your question, the adjustment was made, as you recall, in March. And it was covering a period of time, and then we made a commitment to make that adjustment going back.
Right,
And then the salary is set for the 23-24, and then you move forward to 24-25. So as Mrs. Woolley had just said, that some of the folks that had been here for quite some time, they simply retired. And then over the last year, the other employees have been newer employees that just made different choices.
okay, good, because I was really concerned. I thought maybe after the board had approved that our teachers had left afterwards, but that's a good thing. Thank you.
I had a question, just a quick one.
Well, good evening, Ms. Willie. First thing I want to do is thank you. and especially for page number 5. I think that was something that everyone was looking for.
Hi, I had a question about the family and community engagement specialist. Is it possible for the specialist to work with our parent advisory committee to make it a cohesive partnership? This way, we can pull from them and get resources and find out ways to communicate the activities of the committee with the families.
Absolutely, yes. Back to the expectation that I shared before, this is a district level person, but hopefully we are creating those committees at every one of our buildings. Once we have people in those buildings, if this proves itself to be a good return of investment, then we would want to have a person in every building assisting locally. But for the time being, we would have that one person. I believe we have 2 established parent organizations, one at the high school, and there's one also at DTS.
Right, but there's also a committee, it hasn't really been active so much last year, but we do have a parent advisory committee, which is run by the board.
Right. So yes, anything that's related to parent and family engagement, this person will be part of that.
I had already filled.
Madam President, I do want to take a second from the schedule. Need to applaud Mrs. Woolley. She leads a team of only 4, including herself. In addition to all of the other daily operations that any organization has to deal with labor management, and we've got a number of issues, speaking honestly and frankly, that she's often tied up with all of those things that are happening, that normal business, she and a team of 3 other ladies have been able to help us get almost fully staffed. That needs to be recognized and applauded. Thank you very much.
And you can put your orders in for your yard signs. Just email me.
Well, I did post on social media for you.
Oh, thank you so much.
And I posted in some other districts' social media pages. Sorry. Thank you.
So we're going to, one more individual, invited him to the podium. You can see how you can follow up with that. Mr. Curry, if you want to come up and talk about property.
Yes, that's a tough one to follow for sure. I know HR is doing a great job up there. Good evening, everyone. I have one item for approval and a few just items I want to give updates on. One is the approval of installation of a HVAC air conditioning split unit for the Darby Township server room, estimated amount not to exceed $15,000. We have a room with a lot of equipment in there, and it gets extremely hot, and the unit we have does not keep up. So we're going to upgrade that before we have any issues with the technology. We have a couple big updates. One is just a quick update for the modernization projects going on at Harris, Academy Park, and Sharon Hill. Everything's moving, full steam ahead. We have a lot of good progress over at Sharon Hill. We have ceilings, paints on the wall. Furniture will be delivered in the next few weeks. Flooring will be going in. Harris, there's a lot going on as well, but again, we have ceilings. We had painters there today. I'm making stops almost daily at these schools to make sure progress is happening, and then talks with the architect or the construction manager just to make sure that things are going along. But we're very close at these other schools to just finish the sheetrock and the walls, ceilings, and then get into the carpet, and then get these areas ready for school opening. So, like I said, we are moving full steam ahead, and so far they're looking great. I'm going to have to, Dr. Sanchez, catch up with you for this property items. July 30th, we had a bid opening for the work that's scheduled to happen at this building, our Educational Service Center. The boardroom renovation, we have office renovations upstairs, lighting, new carpets, again, some other spaces that we're going to renovate here. That was awarded to McCarthy Construction and Goldhorn Electric. And like I said, we'll put those those cost items in with this. But early next week, we'll have a kickoff meeting with those vendors, to discuss timelines and things for this building. So apologize for not having that on there, but that took place over the last few weeks. And last but not least, weekly I've been meeting with Dr. Lowry on school readiness. The principals have a way to communicate to all the department heads, support staffs, for anything need for a successful school opening, any critical issues, and like I said, a lot of that is coming from the principal's input. So we're looking at that daily. We meet on it weekly to make sure that we have a wonderful school opening. Cleaning's wrapping up. We do have to go back at a couple of those schools that have construction just to make sure we tighten up those areas and stuff. But we're getting very close to finishing our summer cleaning. We had a couple of things left that were from the summer schools that ran a little later. So they're the updates that I have for tonight, and if anyone has any questions.
Mr. Curry, could you just take a moment to state what's going on at Delcroft School?
Oh, I forgot about that, yes. So there was a request to upgrade some painting over there. And, we were able to work with the architect and get a great scheme together. We're introducing a lot of colors in the hallways. Our in-house electrician has put in all LED lights in the hallways. And it's better than I expected of just painting a school, but every hallway has new fresh colors going on, new lighting. It looks amazing, and it was all done by our in-house team. They'll hopefully be finished early next week or at some point next week, but it's, it looks completely different from any one of our schools. And again, it's just something that my team's been hard at work all summer, and it looks fantastic. So it's better than expected, and they're doing a fantastic job. So
I have a quick question. The designs for the boardroom, did they pick which layout they were going to go with, or? 'Cause I know-
yes, we're setting the boardroom up to have all the tables just run along this wall here.
So it was the one where it was the
It won't be this
tables facing-
configuration. It'll
Right,
be-
but it was the ones facing
Yes.
the audience. Got it.
Yes. But there may be flexibility if anything needs to change, but that's the way the room is going to be set up.
I have a question. I'm not sure if you said this or not, but do you anticipate the projects being done for the start of day one? So the library at the high school, the pods at Harris, things like that?
Yes. Substantial completion is definite. There will be some delays on some casework. The majority of the furniture will be in, but I know at Academy Park, there may be some bookshelves that may come in a few weeks after school, possibly. We're still getting updates through that, but it will not impact school opening. We'll have furniture in these spaces. Floor coverings will be down, things like that, but there may be some delays with some casework, maybe a countertop here or there, but nothing that it'll impact that we can't use those spaces. Thank you.
First, I want to thank you for letting me into Sharon Hill and giving me an LVU, and then you gave me a print of what it was going to look like. And I took it to a lot of the parents. They were thrilled. They're excited, not just the people on the board that it's done. So I want to thank you and your crew for all the work you put in this summer.
Appreciate that. Thank you. All right. Thank you.
So I just have one final invitation to everyone who's here, who's listening or watching. We have a lot of great things happening in the district, and we're trying to make sure we're communicating them almost on a daily basis. There are 3 social media channels that I invite all of you to follow to be able to make sure that you're kept in touch with what's happening. So on Facebook, you can follow us by looking us up. It's SE Delco once you do a search. On Instagram, you can look for us by looking for Southeast Delco. And on LinkedIn, you can look for us by looking up Southeast-Delco-School-DIST. Again, we're using these social media channels to be able to communicate the progress and the work that we're doing, not only to be able to celebrate, but also to inform. A special invitation to our families to to make sure that you follow us on Facebook and Instagram especially, so that you can stay attuned of information that gets put out. It's just one other way to be able to stay connected with all of you. Thank you, Madam President. That's it.
So I guess with the parent and student advisory, he's not in today, Dr. Ryan? Correct. Okay. But I do have a question, maybe you, Dr. Sanchez, you can answer. I just want to know about the, let me say this right, because I always say Powerhouse, Power School. And do we have Power School and Swiss?
Yes, we do.
So why are we using two companies?
Dr. Lowry, if I'll start the answer, if you wouldn't mind helping me. I believe the principals were given the opportunity to use both Power School and Swiss for different reasons. Swiss is a mechanism that helps facilitate easier reports being generated and also helps them with PBIS activities. It's not as simple with the Power School, or at least we need to make sure that our staff have access to the right resource on Power School to be able to do that.
So are we being, is the district being built for both?
Yes, we are. There's a cost related to both Swiss and Power School.
So this question is to the counselor. Is this supposed to come to the board first? For us to approve it?
If it's a contract, yes.
Right, so I don't understand why, because I didn't know anything about it. I'm asking the board, did anybody know anything about it? Because I know under, not you, Dr. Sanchez, but I know under Brenda, what was the last?
Dr. Winder.
Winder. And we did talk about it, but I remember Madam President was expressing that Power School was better for our district, but the last meeting that I do remember that we were supposed to just use Power School. Now, I understand what you're saying as far as using Swiss, but I mean, if the district is going to be paid, I mean, we have to pay for Power School and Swiss. Did you not know that it never came to the board? Because you wasn't here at that time.
Correct.
Okay,
Here, so
right, that's why I'm saying, I know you wasn't here. So I'm asking Madam President and our counselor, the board should look into it more with the Swiss and the Power School to see how much we are paying, and we should approve it. This is, again, this is not against Dr. Sanchez because he wasn't here at that time. So I just want to know how much we are paying. Well, Mr. Butler, if you know off the top of your head, how much are we? No, you don't. Okay. So can you give us, and even put it on the agenda for next week?
So we can definitely do the research. Just want to confirm, Power School is what we need to use.
Right.
That is what's required. That's what we're using to report to the state.
Right.
For any kind of behavior incidents.
Right.
So if we were to make a final decision as to which of the two systems we would stay with, it needs to be Power School because that's the tool that's required by PDE.
Right, but you as an educator and as a superintendent, are you asking the board that you need both?
I'm asking the board to give me some time to do the research.
Okay.
I want to find out how much the cost is and
Okay.
to really study the utilization. What's the difference between the two systems to determine if there's a need for two systems?
Okay, all right, granted.
I would also ask to find out how many are using both, because I think it's more a matter of if not everyone's using, if most of the people aren't using it.
So, Dr. Lowry, so just to piggyback, we did have this conversation during the hoodie incident.
Right, I
Where we, the
remember.
board, had instructed the superintendent
Right.
to get rid of SIS at the time, not Dr. Sanchez. I'm sorry.
Right.
Let me be, Swiss, I'm sorry. So we did instruct the previous superintendent, Dr. Winder, to get rid of Swiss.
Right.
And then every school was supposed to use Power School, because the problem is that employees were taking the information from Swiss
Right.
and inputting it into Power School, and that was double dipping. Like, you're doing too much excess work.
Right.
So I know that Dr. Ryan was present for that conversation. I don't believe you were here yet, Dr. Lowry, not for the hoodies.
He was here.
I don't know if you were here for that.
He-
No, you weren't here.
For that conversation?
Yeah, Dr. Lowry?
You wasn't
I
here?
wasn't part of the Swiss versus.
No,
No.
it was Dr.
It was
Dr.
Do-
Ryan.
it was Dr. Ryan who
Right,
was
he
part of
was
it.
here as an employee, but Dr. Ryan was the one
That was in the meeting at the
Right,
time.
yes.
So Dr. Ryan definitely knows all the information. Dr. Ryan knows that the board requested that Swiss no longer exist. And that
Okay.
was about 2 years ago.
So ultimately, Power School is the vehicle that communicates with, that's our student information system. So you'll hear SIS used a lot. Power School is our warehouse for all of our student information. So it's our parent contacts, it's our grades, it's our attendance, latenesses, and anything that goes to the Department of Education would also interface through our SIS. Just like every district now has a SIS. Some districts use Infinite Campus. Our vehicle of choice is Power School. Swiss operates, from my understanding, off to the side. So Swiss is the first vehicle where teachers will enter information. Swiss does provide reports. It can give some more analytical data back to the school leaders, but ultimately, like Dr. Sanchez said, Power School is the vehicle that directly funnels in. So
Okay.
So, not to interrupt you, Ms. Woodfolk. Dr. Sanchez, can you make sure we have all components of Power School so that the discipline portion of it is fully functional? Because that may be one of the issues. I know that Dr. Ryan said that we don't have all the components. So one issue is that we may have Power School, but we don't have all the components in order to function. And if they're using Swiss for other things, so I know in my district, we use Power School and we use PBIS. And I know we're heavy on PBIS, so maybe they should look into the PBIS application instead of looking at Swiss, like cheese, Swiss. So I would like to ask the board, I'm sorry, Ms. Bartley, you had something to say?
Oh, yes, I was just thinking that, if from my understanding, Dr. Lowry, it would be that the teachers don't have access for referrals for Power School. Is that one of the components? That's why we use Swiss, right?
So every school, that's correct. So some schools have another system of those initial referrals for students. So if a teacher has a referral for an incident, some of our schools use a Google Doc system, others use the Swiss system as that initial referral. And then from there, whatever data is combined from Swiss can help influence and help support the PBIS initiative. But ultimately, like Ms. Monroe-Witz had mentioned, whatever vehicle you use as that first step, it's still got to go into Power School. It doesn't exist in state level data unless if that information is then taken from one system and put into another.
Right, so if Miss Monroe would said, if we had that component in Power School for the teachers to be able to access that initial referral, then that could possibly eliminate the double dipping like you were talking about.
You will, I don't want to speak on the data components of Swiss that you would lose, but that's absolutely correct. There would not be that double step.
Is it possible to do an audit of information for each school, meaning make sure that each school is capturing their information the same way throughout all of the buildings? Because shouldn't it be standardized? It shouldn't be that one school's using Google
Right.
Docs, one's using this. That's
Right.
absolutely absurd.
Well, I think that's the
Absolutely.
problem. Like,
Yeah.
they've been able to do whatever they choose to do the principal. Whatever the principal wants, that's what's been happening.
So then let's
So that's
set
why
a goal of this school
streamlining.
year, all buildings should be standardized so that we're not doing this anymore.
Right, so I was gonna ask somebody to, Dr. Sanchez, to put a motion on the floor, for Power School, because if that's what we're leading towards, and Dr. Sanchez has just made that recommendation, maybe we need to put a motion for this next week's to use Power School.
No, Dr. Sanchez said he wants to, do research on both, correct?
Thank you, Ms. Woodfolk, you're absolutely correct. I will figure out how I get this research in the next 3 business days by contacting Power School and finding out if that module exists. And if it doesn't exist, I still want to have a conversation with leadership to talk about then what is the standard way. There shouldn't be 3 different ways,
Right.
and there shouldn't be double work.
Right.
So that leads to errors in data, and it also then leads to then people perceiving that we're not truly reporting what's happening.
Right.
And in no way, shape, or form do I want an error in data entry to be perception that we're trying to hide what's happening in our schools. So if I can have 3 business days to be able to figure out, could we get the module for PBIS via Power School? And if so, then that can be something that we introduce and we present to the board next week.
Thank you, Dr. Larry.
Thank you.
We do have a card, and then we'll get right back to,
Wait a minute, can I say one more thing? Just one more thing. Yeah,
please use your mic.
Why you have to look at me like that? I just want to say one more thing.
Ms. Woodfolk, you have the
Okay.
floor.
I like to, I know that I am in charge with Delaware County Community College. I would like to pass this torch to Mr. John Lafferty for him to be in control with Delaware County Community College. I have other things that I am involved in, so if you like to take over it,
Be my pleasure, madam.
right now.
All right, so at this time, Mr. Lafferty will head the Delaware County Community College report.
Yes. That's all I have to say for now.
Okay. Dr. Sanchez?
Yes, we have a speaker, Ms. Nicole. If you can please come to the mic.
You have 3 minutes, and all you need to state is your first and last name. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Nicole Chenault. I just had 2 things to bring up. You guys mentioned the FACE coordinator, and I wanted to bring up my parent from Harris School, and I definitely wanted to see if they can bring back PTAs, even if it's revamped, because now Zoom has most PTAs at this point are using Zoom. When I was at Delcroft School, they weren't using Zoom there either, so that may have to be implemented as part of whatever their FACE coordinator is doing. But if we could please use PTAs because we don't really have them, and as a parent, I feel disconnected from a lot of things that are going on. Email, of course, is definitely something that we need to utilize more for our parents because we get mostly paper, but with emails, we don't really get a lot of emails. We do use Dojo, but I want to make sure that it's mentioned for email to be utilized more for parents to get information, because in other schools, I do have children outside of our district, we use email frequently, but within this school district, we don't get as much through that, and it helps. One of the things I really wanted to ask about was special education. I have a child here in special education. I will ask someone, I guess, who to talk to about getting parent groups for special education parents. I would help with that. But also after-school programs for them as well, because I see a lot of programs through our county, but my son he's only in 4th grade now, but does he have access to any of those things? I haven't seen that option for him. So I know there are statutes that say that we have to have the same, be given the same rights legally for our children for special education as other children as well. So I want to find out how to get our children involved in some of the activities that we have, because I see a lot of them. And he's in sports all over in other places, but I want to be able to have that same choice here at our school that we have other places too. So that's it. Thank you.
Ms. Chenault. Wanted to make sure that you knew who Dr. Gibbs Tapper is. So if you can, okay, good. That's one resource. But there's another resource that just joined the district 2 weeks ago. Our new athletic director, Ms. Shayla Johnson. Her office is right outside of the main office in Academy Park. So we need to make sure we connect you with her as well. She's new to the district, but she's got the charge to figure out how more and more of our young people, regardless of who they are, whether they're regular ed or special ed, are connected. So she's another resource for you, okay?
Mr. Lafferty had a question about the after prom, how much money was raised, how much was spent, and what is the current amount, I guess, in their treasury? So,
President, is that for the, because
I didn't ask the question, you have to ask Mr. John. Mr. Lafferty.
Mr. Lafferty, she thinks we sick.
Yes.
Mr. Lafferty, are you asking that for the board to know about the after prom?
Yes, because if there's money left over, where is it and how much was it, so that when we go to do it next year,
Right.
we know what to play with. You can't just say.
Right, I understand your
$10,000.
concern, but the after prom has nothing to do with the board, am I correct?
Correct.
Right, so it has nothing to do, you will have to,
But the board did supply them with funds.
no. What it is, the board, whether the board supplied them with anything, the board has nothing to do with the after prom because there is what you call it, a committee or
It was done by the Home and School.
Home and School Association.
So I can speak to this a little bit, Mr. Lafferty. So all of the money that was raised, that is in the PTSA now. So the school has now transformed, the Home and School at Academy Park has transformed into the PTSA. And they had raised that money. So that is in that account, in that treasury account, which the treasurer is not here, and we didn't know that. But that information was made available at the June PTSA meeting. That whole treasurer report was read and distributed to parents at that meeting. So I know that I think the next meeting is in September, and there will be another treasurer's report available at that meeting as well.
Yeah, you would have to go to that meeting to find out more information because the board has nothing to do with it. No matter what, if we contribute to anything, that is the Home and School. So you have to go to that meeting and ask them.
Okay, so, no problem.
And what was left over was after we got donations and everything in, so it wasn't like.
See, what I'm looking at is when they come and ask for I think last year was 5,000 and went down to 2,500.
Right.
So, I mean, there are still seniors out there, and they're all me. So, with that money that you're gaining and raising constantly, you can go away from asking the school for a donation.
Well, yes, that is the plan. I know that we are starting earlier with the fundraising and things moving forward.
And we also got the tax exempt status so that we were able to get direct donations directly to the organization as opposed to
Giving it
having to
right.
come to the school for the money. So there are things that they are doing now, but they're not just raising just for the after prom, it's for the whole school. So it's for different events, not just after prom.
Right, so if they come to us and ask us for donation, you can ask them how much did they raise for their fundraising and what they've been doing to raise money, and why do they need X amount of money from us? And you could go to the meeting and see what they are doing to raise money, so. But the board has nothing to do.
No, but as a board member, I think I have the right to know where these meetings are, and I've never been notified.
Exactly,
Oh,
I'm not gonna argue with you about
Yeah, it was
that.
at the high school, and they actually did send out information
Yes,
in
there was
advance?
there was
And there was a
emails
quite
and
a-
there was
yeah,
globals. There
Global
was a few
Connects.
globals about our meeting that we did have in June.
And we actually just had a
Wait a
meeting.
minute, no, that's not true. The
That's no
meeting,
problem.
the meeting, the information that was sent out was only to the people that was a part of the meeting. It was not sent out to everybody.
So we did have parents from all 8th grade
Yeah.
schools there. Dr. Sanchez was there. He did witness. There was all 8th grade parents from all the other schools. So we did have a pretty good turnout at that June meeting. So they did find out
But so.
They did find out what?
Wait, so I have a
that
question.
we
Wait
had a
minute,
meeting.
wait, they found out what?
That they had a meeting.
That we had a meeting.
It was
Right,
announced.
but yeah, you're sending out meetings, you're sending out information to let the parents know when there is a meeting. But his concern is, he wants to know about the money situation. How much did you make for this? How much you make for that? How much you make for the other? Comparing to us giving you guys, well, the home is school, $2,500. So he wants to know that where did all the money go to, especially when the board contribute $2,500.
That was disclosed in the meeting in June.
Right, and
Actually,
the
I
key would be to
actually have
send all the board members an invitation.
I
Wait a
actually
minute,
have-
1 second. So I guess Mr. John is asking,
I just repeated
where
it.
are the meeting, when are the meetings and where are the meetings? So once because there's not a home in school no more, it's not part of the district, I'm assuming. So it's a parent, teacher, student advisory association. So that means you have no connection to the district at all, because you're your own entity. So Mr. John is asking, when are the meetings, where are the meetings, and what time are the meetings? Because you are no longer a part of Southeast Delco School District.
So the meetings are the first Thursdays of the month. It was,
No, not was.
no, I'm looking at actually have the agenda from the last meeting and the notes from the last meeting.
Forward, I'm
I know, yeah, they're saying,
Okay, go
this
ahead,
is,
go ahead,
this
I'm
is,
sorry.
the date, or the times of the meeting is 6:30. It's the first Thursday of the month. That didn't change.
Right.
As far as what was left over, there
No,
was
the location.
or the location is at the high school, in the auditorium. Well, for the
No, in the library.
it was in the auditorium, and until the library is, yeah, it's at Academy Park, so it might move.
Stop right there, 1 second. Are you guys filling out the form to use the facilities? Is the PTSA, since you're not part of the district anymore, here we go, you gotta be fair to every organization that uses our facilities. Are you filling out the form that's on our website for facilities and paying the fee?
I will,
So we can speak to the president,
to
so
them.
we, officers
So
were
there-
elected.
So that's what you should be doing moving forward.
So who is?
So that is,
Okay.
so what I'm saying is, wait 1 second, Ms. Woodfolk. What I'm saying is, every organization that uses our facility has to fill out a facility form, and there is a fee associated with it. Since you went into an association and now have your 501c3, you are no longer part of Southeast Delco School District. So you need to fill out the facility form, because we don't want other organizations watching this and saying, you have your 501c3, which you just stated, and you're an association, and you don't have to do it. And it looks like because people are on the school board, they don't have to do it. So that's why I'm asking, moving forward, that you please go on the website and fill out the form.
so we are not in power at all. We are only parents.
So
It
what
was
I'm
made
saying
very clear. What we can do
is give that information.
contact to the other
Yes,
people
please.
involved and
Thank
share
you.
that. We will share
Thank
that
you.
information. But I did want to,
Right.
but
Okay,
I
thank you.
did write down the information from them regarding the after prom, so I did have some numbers. It was $2,400 left after prom, once they collected everything. They put 1,000 of it into the general fund for the PTSA. So 1,000 of that goes to the PTSA. The remaining 1,400 will go, it stays with the after prom committee to help start building up for next year's, this upcoming after prom. And there was $134 left in the general fund that now moves over to the PTSA general fund. So those were the numbers left.
May I ask, who is the president of the,
Ciari Alexander? Sarai.
Sarai?
They talked her into, she volunteered to be the president.
Thank you.
You said Sierra? Sarai. Okay. Thank you.
Is that all, Mr. Lafferty? Are there any more questions or information?
No, Madam President, I don't have anything to say.
No, Madam President, thank you very much.
Seeing none, our upcoming meeting will be the school board business meeting Thursday, August 22nd, 2024 at 7 p.m. The next committee of the whole will be Thursday, September 19th, 2024 at 6 p.m. And the school board business meeting will be Thursday, September 26th, 2024.
I will not be here for September 26th. That's for my birthday.
Thursday, September 26th, 2024 at 7 p.m. This meeting is now adjourned.